Hey, this is Mike. I am in Whiteville, North Carolina, visiting Van Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge Ram, and I'm checking out a 2016 Chrysler 200 Limited. And these are really interesting cars because in 2015, they completely redesigned the entire car. It's completely a different car from the old Chrysler 200s. And they did a really good job promoting this vehicle, in my opinion, because they had the ability to go into the factory using Google Maps, and you can see how they manufacture it, and lots of cool stuff. So anyways, let's check it out. 17-inch aluminum wheels on this model with the four-wheel disc brakes, and of course you have the ventilated disc brakes here in the front. So the name of this color is Velvet Red. It's kind of like a burgundy red. So let's take a look here in the front. It has the projector bifunction halogen headlights here. So what I mean by bifunction on the halogen projector headlights is that one tube serves as the low and the high beam. Some vehicles have a projector here for the low beam, and then off to the side they have a separate reflector system for the high beam, but this one has the projector for both. We also have a accent lighting around here, which looks pretty cool at night. I have a 2015 at night video of this vehicle. It looks really cool, so you can check it out. So the Limited is a lower trim level. A lot of people did a 15 Limited. A lot of people thought that was, you know, high-end trim level, and they were really surprised that there were some options, you know, that it just didn't include. So here's the key for this vehicle. It is a proximity key, and you can see it's just like a little box here. Very smooth and comfortable, easy to just like slip in your pant pockets and you know, carry around. You can also put it in your purse or bag or whatever. But all you have to do is have this key on you somewhere, and you can access the trunk and unlock the door. You can start the vehicle, drive it around, exit, and relock the vehicle without actually taking the key out of your pocket. So let's go ahead and check it out right now. Let's go ahead and lock it. So we push that button to lock it. So now it's locked. I'm going to put the key in my pocket, and we're just going to pretend like we are getting up in the morning and going to work. So right now the vehicle's locked, and I can demonstrate that by pulling here. Okay, I can also pull this handle. Okay, but on the driver's door, it has the ability to just put your hand behind the handle. It unlocks the doors. So now it's unlocked. If I want to relock it, I just push this button. Just want to make sure you don't put your hand behind the handle and push the button simultaneously, then it's going to confuse the system and you don't know what it's going to do. So right now it's locked again. But as soon as I put my hand behind the handle, it unlocks. And it senses the key within a certain proximity of the vehicle. That's why they call it a proximity key. And it senses the position of my hand and unlocks the door for me. So let's take a look here on the passenger side. Here's the inside of the passenger door, and we have everything. This has black interior, so everything's black. It does have the metallic accents here around the handle as well as the handle, and then you have bottle holder and little storage pockets there and up here. Door lock controls, window controls, and then also in the front it is a automatic window, so you can just push it one time and it goes all the way down. You also have like a textured plastic here that kind of simulates a kind of like a metallic look, I guess you can say, but it's not really. It's like a black brushed metallic. Hard to explain, but it looks pretty cool in person. Most everything is soft to the touch, by the way. Here and here, here, and then down here's the hard plastic. Alright, so manual adjustments on both the driver and the passenger, but it does have the ability to raise and lower the seats by using this kind of lever system here. It makes it go up and down so you can get the right seating position. So the seats have a pretty significant bolsters here to hug your body, give you a contoured, comfortable feel. Very comfortable. I've driven in one of these for several hours going on a trip, and they're very comfortable vehicles. And you have a power supply there. For the passenger, you have a lockable glove compartment, and the glove compartment is massive. I don't know if you can see in there, but it just goes back there way far. You can like put a whole book or something in there, and plus it has a place to put a pen, and it has a little quick access stuff right here on the door, so you can put some stuff in there and access it quickly. And check out this little cubby area. It's got that skyline there, city skyline in here, and then you have this whole place, which I'll get into it. That whole center console. It's pretty neat the way they designed it. I'll get into more of that when we get in the driver's seat. All right, so let's take a look here in the back. Now you can see the seats are not all the way back, so you can see you have plenty of leg room back here for the back seat passengers. And you have an armrest here which also serves as cup holders and a little storage compartment. Plus you have a little pass-through to go to the trunk if you need to do that. Little cubby hole there for putting stuff, plus you have little pockets on the back of the front seats. So the fuel door is on the passenger side, so you can make them pump the gas for you. And you can open it up like this. And it is a flex fuel vehicle, so you can use up to 85% ethanol if you need to. So the cap is pretty neat because it has this plastic tether, which keeps you from losing the cap. So, but you don't want to let it dangle down and scratch your paint. So they have this neat little place to hang the tether like that. So you can put the tether on that little groove, and it will keep the cap out of the way while you're pumping gas, and it also keeps it from dangling down, scratching your awesome paint. Because that's the last thing you want to do, is scratch your new car as soon as you get it. So let's take a look here in the back. Has some chrome accents there at the bottom, and the 200 badge. Now check out this Chrysler badge. It's pretty neat. You see in the video there's a certain procedure in which they mount that badge right there on the back that makes sure it's in the absolute perfect position. And you can watch the video online of how they do that. So let's go ahead and take a look in the trunk, and has a backup camera lens back here, which we'll check that out and see what it looks like on the inside. But opening up the trunk, it has a little button back here right there, and of course you can use the key, but as long as I have the key on me, I can push that little button and it opens up the trunk for me. And there's the trunk, and the seats fold down in case you need to have some extra storage space or some cargo area. And it's a 60-40 split, as you can probably see, to where you can have a combination of cargo and passenger space. Now, some of these vehicles do not have a spare tire. This one does. So you want to make sure that you know whether you have one or not. So it's as simple as just lifting this panel and you can check it out. Some of the ones that do not have a spare tire do come with a tire inflator kit, which is still handy, but you know, as long as you want to know whether you have one or not, especially if you're going on a long trip. One of the neat things about this vehicle that I learned from watching the video that Chrysler put out with their factory is that this right here, this seam on the very top of the vehicle, is laser brazed. And you notice a lot of vehicles will have a big seal right there. This one is completely brazed from one end to the other, so there's absolutely no gaps in the weld that has to be sealed up. It's a solid weld, it's a solid braze all the way across using a laser system, which you can actually see a video of that online. It's pretty cool. So to start the vehicle, as long as you have the key in the vehicle with you, whether it be in your pocket, in your purse, or whatever, you can throw it in a cup holder like I'm gonna do. All you have to do is put your foot on the brake and hold it, and then push this button. You don't have to hold the button, you just have to push it. So let's take a look at under the hood, check out that engine. So to open the hood, there is a latch just here to the little bit to the left of center of the Chrysler symbol. There's a little lever that you turn, you just push it to the right. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and lift it up. And you lift it up just a few inches, you can see right here. That's it, but lift it up a few inches and it'll go up the rest of the way. Has a plastic cover, but we can still see some of the engine. They haven't completely hidden it from us. So this has a 2.4 liter multi-air engine, and it's what they call the Tiger Shark engine. It's pretty neat. It is a direct injection multi-air system with variable valve timing. So you have all these modern technologies to give you the best fuel economy while still giving you some serious power. So this little engine, 4-cylinder, pumps out 184 horsepower and 173 pound-feet of torque, and it's matched up with a 9-speed, that's right, a 9-speed automatic transmission. And one of the things I want to mention about the 9-speed, it doesn't actually have to cycle through all 9 gears. It can skip gears if needed. So it's able to give you just the right gear ratio at all times, depending on the amount of acceleration and all that you need. Also, you notice that it has a insulated battery, so that keeps the battery lasting longer, because heat really doesn't bother the battery, but cold air does. So having the battery under the hood, if you have a little bit of insulation around it, this has been shown to make the battery last a lot longer. Another thing I want to mention that you can actually see on this vehicle is you see these little bumps here in the fender, and you also have some creases here in the hood, right there and there, and you have these crease lines. These are like crumple zones. These manage the crumple. These manage the areas in which the metal is going to bend in case you're in an accident. It's going to bend in certain places and not in others, and then that way it can manage the impact a lot better than if it was just flat sheet metal, and it will just randomly bend wherever it would. But in this case, they designed the vehicle to where it can actually bend in certain spots that are shown to be better for the impact. Also, you notice there's a little catch right here for the hood. So if the hood is being pushed back, it will be caught right there, and it'll stop the force of the hood going back towards the windshield, and it'll start using these crumple zones in order to bend the hood and absorb as much energy as possible in the event of an accident. So it has a really high safety rating, and these are some of the things that contribute to that. Alright, so here we are on the inside. 2016 Chrysler 200 Limited. And the layout's pretty neat. I'm going to check out everything in this vehicle. So let's go ahead and start over here on the driver's door. We have your door lock controls, power window controls, and the power windows here in the front, like I was telling you before, it's a one touch. Just push it one touch, goes down, lift it up one time, goes up. So really convenient. It's amazing how much more convenient that is. I know it only takes a few seconds to hold the actual switch, but just sometimes you just want to get going, and one of those, like if you go through a drive-through and you get your stuff or whatever, and you just lift it up one time and you can start driving away while the window's rolling up. Little things like that just really make a difference to me. Okay, so the driver's door is pretty much a mirror of the other side, except for it has some more buttons here. But also your side mirrors are controlled by, you just have to pick a side, left or right. Then you can adjust it with this little pad there, and then eventually that light will turn off, and that way you don't accidentally mess up your adjusted mirrors. So over here is your headlight controls. So you got off, and then there's parking lights, and then there's your headlights. Then you have an automatic feature there, which is really handy. It just turns the lights on and off when it gets dark, so you don't actually have to think about it. So it has these two dimmer switches. So this one is for your interior gauges. So up in here, you can adjust the interior lights there, and I have it on automatic. So you can't really tell during the day, but you can tell at night. And then you have this button, which is for your ambient lighting, which is pretty cool. And you got to check out my night video. It's only on a 15, but it's basically the same principle. Just search my channel for 2015 Chrysler 200 at night, or just search for at night and you'll see a whole bunch of them. There's another way to open up the trunk there. Okay, so let's take a look at the steering wheel. And the steering wheel is made of a synthetic, very super durable synthetic material that has a artificial leather texture to it, but super durable. It's hard to imagine what it would take to mess this steering wheel up. Another thing about synthetics is that they're a lot easier to clean than, say, like a leather wrap steering wheel. So this is pretty cool, and it's very comfortable. One of the reasons why it's comfortable is because it's fairly thick, has a good thickness, and just a really good feel to it. Plus you have these little bolsters here. It gives you some extra control that way, and then of course it just kind of hugs your hand while you're driving here. And I like the way they have the metallic accents around the buttons. That really makes it look awesome. And then you've got the Chrysler symbol here in a mirrored chrome finish, which is awesome. Okay, so here on the right side of the steering wheel, this is your cruise control. So you just have to make sure it's turned on by pushing this button, and it'll let you know that it's turned on. You have a little symbol there. And once you turn it on, you can set it with one of these buttons, and then you can resume. You can change to the speeds with the plus and minus, and you can cancel it there. So also on the back of the steering wheel is a volume button. I don't know if you can see that. There's actually a button back there for your volume. So while your hand's on the steering wheel, you're cruising along, you can adjust your volume on the back of the steering wheel here. And then you don't even have to really have an awkward hand position. I mean, it's pretty natural to have your fingers right there behind in the area in which the button is located, which is awesome. So I can adjust the volume there. And on the other side, the back of the steering wheel, there's another switch in which you can change through the stations. So really easy way of changing through the stations and using the volume and everything with your hands on the wheel. So speaking of hands on the wheel and eyes on the road, there is your Bluetooth buttons. So you can actually send and receive calls using these buttons. So if somebody calls you, and of course you have to have your Bluetooth phone paired with the system, and somebody calls you, even if the radio is loud and all that stuff, it's going to dim all that out, and it's going to start ringing through the sounds through the speakers. And you just push this button and you say hello, and you can talk to the person. Hands are still on the wheel. You're done talking to them, you hang up here. If you want to make a call, you can push this or this button, and it will allow you to say commands. So you could say say Stephen Underwood. If Stephen Underwood is in your phone book, you can push that button, you say call Stephen Underwood, and it'll call him right up. Hands are still on the wheel. Eyes are on the road. You don't have to worry about it. Now the voice recognition system is really awesome because there's lots and lots of different commands. And it actually comes with a quick tips book, which is able to kind of get you started, because there is a lot of commands that you can use. And here's a summary. So you have like basic commands, and really you go through the radio. You can adjust the radio, different media. Your phone commands are here. Plus you have voice text reply, and it has different commands, different things that you can reply. But there's lots of pretty cool things that you can use with what you can do with the voice recognition system that is very convenient, but also a good safety feature, because the whole time you're staying productive and your hands are on your wheel and your eyes are on the road, and it's just I mean, that's the way it should be when you're driving, especially at highway speeds. I mean, you really need to learn these features, because they will, you know, they could save your life. I mean, and you're staying productive, and we all need to stay productive nowadays. So these buttons here, you've got the OK, and then you got the arrows. They correspond with this screen that's between the gauges. So the gauges are really awesome looking, especially at nighttime. You gotta check out my night video. So you've got the RPMs here to the left, and it has a little tachometer. It says tachometer there, and it on the chrome. Hopefully you can see that. And then you have the speedometer there to the right, and then your temperature gauge for your engine is there, and then your fuel gauge is there digitally. And you notice it has the little pump there with the arrow pointing to the right, showing you which side your fuel door is on. But this screen here in the center is what I'm talking about, with these buttons here on the steering wheel. So right now it's showing us a speedometer, a digital speedometer. There's the symbol for our cruise control is turned on. It's 85 degrees outside. I'm facing southwest. That's a digital compass. So right now it's giving us a pretty good amount of information. But if I push down, you'll notice that this turns into a number. You can see this is actually part of a menu system. Okay, so the speedometer is the first menu option. Scrolling down, this is the vehicle info. Now when I'm in vehicle info screen, you can see it has these little bars here above this car. It's showing me the tire pressure on each tire, but I can scroll to the right and it gives me more information. Coolant temperature, transmission temperature, oil temperature, oil life, battery voltage, and then it scrolls back to the tire pressure again. So scrolling down again brings us to the fuel economy, and the fuel economy will give us an average, but also a range too, like how long I can drive before I need to get gas. Scrolling down again gives us a trip info, and there's a trip A and trip B. And what's cool about these trips is not just the distance traveled, but it also gives you your average fuel economy and the time in which elapsed. Scrolling down again, this shows us basically what your radio is doing. Down again, any stored messages will be shown here. And what it means by stored messages, when you start the vehicle, if it gives you a message at startup saying time to change the oil, or your tire pressure's low, or some kind of message, and it will quickly go away if you just ignore it and you just drive the car. Like if time to change the oil, you're like, well, I got to get to work, I don't need to change the oil right this second, so I'm going to keep driving. You can always go back into this screen and see what those messages were if you weren't really paying attention before. The screen setup, there's lots and lots of different things you can go into and adjust. You can change, like say, the upper left. We're going to change the upper left to the, let's go ahead and change that to the range. So there we go. So now we have the distance to empty right here all the time. Okay. So we can change those different options there to pretty much whatever we want. So the screen setup's really cool. Scrolling down again brings us back to the speedometer, digital speedometer. And at all times we have the analog speedometer there, so we don't always have to have the speedometer, the digital speedometer up if we don't want. Alright, so that's pretty cool, isn't it? Turn signals here, and then you dim your lights with that switch. Windshield wiper and washer controls are on that side. And we already met the push button start. And some people get confused. If you need to use, say, just listen to the radio without actually starting the vehicle, all you have to do is push that button without pushing the brake, and it'll turn on the accessory mode, and you can listen to the radio or whatever you want to do. Similar to the first click on the old style keys, where you turn and click it the first click, and then that way you can listen to the radio or whatever. So speaking of the radio, it's right here. This is the Uconnect 5.0, but I just want to mention that the dash is very soft, like everywhere up here on the dash, plus down here. And maybe I could show it to you. Look at how it's kind of like a sponge. It's almost like a Nerf football. It's so soft. So, and I'm assuming that might help out with, a car accident or something. If the dash is soft and, you accidentally hit the dash or something like that, maybe that's, part of the safety feature. I don't know, but it's pretty neat. So let's get back to the radio. So this is a little touchscreen, but it also has some regular buttons here on the side. So I'm going to push the radio. So we're going to start here with the radio. You've got your time, and it kind of gives you some information on your climate control pretty much all the time. But so right now we're in it has AM, FM. You can change AM, FM, and you have your presets, which you just push and hold, and it'll save it like that. There at the top, you can adjust your audio. It does have like an equalizer. You can balance, fade. Speed adjusted volume is pretty cool. The faster you go, the louder it'll get. That's pretty neat. And this is lots of different things that you can adjust there. So media is another way of playing through the sound system. So this vehicle has a USB, an auxiliary, plus it has Bluetooth audio, so you can play music through all those different ways. This does not have a CD player, and a CD player is not even available in this vehicle because CD players are obsolete, and they've been obsolete for 10 years. So that's just want to inform you of that if you're not aware. So show you your source. You have the USB, auxiliary, and Bluetooth right there, and you can just pick which one you want. Alright, so let's go to phone. This is where you can pair your phone, and once you pair your phone, you have access to your phone book, recent calls. You have a keypad to make calls, like a little number pad. You can also see your texts and things like that. Now if you're in a conversation, it's going to play through the speakers of the vehicle. If you do not want anybody else in the car to hear your conversation, all you have to do is hit transfer, and it'll transfer it back to your cell phone, so you can actually use your cell phone and continue a private conversation. Pushing the compass button basically just gives you a big digital compass, and it kind of simulates an actual compass there, and it gives you the real easy to read which direction you're facing. Climate. So climate is there is some climate control buttons down here, but you can go into, like, say, temperature, and you can adjust it the way you want it. You can adjust your fan speed. It's pretty cool. You can do it like that, or you can actually push these buttons like that and get the amount of fan speed that you want. Mode is where you want the air to blow, and you can recirculate the air there. Front and rear defrosters is there. You can also always turn it off if you need to. And this last button where it says more, this gives you your outside temperature, real big. Also, I love this feature, a big digital clock. If you are on the way to work, or if you're on your way to an appointment and you need to really focus on the time, this is awesome because it just puts this huge digital clock right there in front of your face, so of course it hasn't been set yet, but because it's showing AM, but it kind of gives you your time, and then puts your focus on that time, so that way there's certain times in which you need I would need that anyway. Alright, plus you can go into a whole bunch of different vehicle settings. Of course we can go in there and change the time. There's safety and assistance, say like your backup camera, hill start assist. You can turn those features on or off and adjust different options on there. You've got door and locks, so like say you can make it to where once you start driving, the door locks will lock, and then when you stop they'll unlock, that kind of stuff. Engine off options, that's like how long you want the headlights to stay on, stuff like that. So there's lots of different options that you can go into, and of course you can pair your Bluetooth and all that. So that's pretty much the main features here on the touchscreen. A lot of information. It's very easy to read. It has the black and blue and white kind of combination there of colors, and it's crisp and easy to read. Four-way flashers are right there, and it's easy to accidentally touch that button when you're messing around with the touchscreen, but once you get used to it, you won't do it. So down here is a traditional volume knob and tune through the stations here for your radio. You can always turn the screen off. Like say you just don't want the screen on, it's distracting you or whatever. You can turn it off with this button here, and to turn it on, all you have to do is touch the screen and it turns back on. The back button is for going back out of certain menu screens. You have a traction control off button, and it'll alert you when you turn it off. This is basically the only time you really want to turn off traction control is if you are stuck in the mud or snow and you want to spin tires. Other than that, I would leave it on. It's a really good safety feature. So some redundant buttons for your climate control. You can adjust your temperature here, your fan speed, and air conditioning, recirculate the air, front and rear defrosters. I want to mention something about the recirculating the air. Not only does it make the air colder because it's cooling off the already cooled air, but also it keeps the outside air from getting in the vehicle. So like odors, smokes, things like that, just keeps it all out and you don't have to deal with it. I use mine all the time. Okay, so down here is your shifter. Now you notice it's a little bit different than the average shifter in a vehicle. It's just a dial. Okay, so I'm going to just turn it to reverse. Of course, I do have to put my foot on the brake to do that. And once I put it in reverse, you'll notice that the backup camera pops up here. And if I turn the steering wheel, which I'm doing now, you'll see that the lines actually move there. That is giving me an estimated trajectory of the vehicle as I back up. Plus, it gives me some, green, yellow, red. Green is fine, yellow you're getting too close, and red is you're extremely close and you're getting ready to hit something. So pay attention to the lines there. It shows you, it's a wide angle view, so it shows you from the bumper all the way to the sky and pretty far to the side, so you can really see where you're going backing up. So really good feature. So let's continue on with the shifter. There's neutral, there's drive, and that's your normal drive position. It'll cycle through all 9 gears on its own. And if you notice it has this L here, the L is for a low range. So it's going to, you can't just turn it, you have to push in, then turn it to the low range, so you don't accidentally do that. It's going to put it in a lower gear ratio than the typical gear ratio that it would normally use. So like say if you're cruising on the highway, you're in 7th or 8th gear, if you just switch that to low, it's going to go down to probably 5th or 6th gear. It's not going to mess up your transmission or anything, but it does just tell the vehicle that you want a lower gear ratio than what you're currently in. So this one has an electric parking brake. So to engage it, you just pull it back and it'll cinch down the rear wheels. It keeps the vehicle from rolling. Push it down, it releases it. Also, there's a setting to where if the door is open and you start moving the vehicle, or if the vehicle starts moving, then it will automatically turn on the parking brake to keep the vehicle. Let's say you accidentally get out of the vehicle while the vehicle's in drive, it might roll about a foot or two, but it'll completely just stop. Now that is a setting that can be turned off in your settings. So if that's something you want on, make sure you turn that on. And it's something that's pretty cool. The Mythbusters actually tried that out, and Jamie was in the vehicle and he put it in drive and then jumped out of the vehicle, and it moved about a foot or so and then it stopped. It was pretty interesting. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend just trying it just for fun. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to, just if you know what you're doing. So there's my card. Get that out of the way. Let me get the key out of the way because I want to show you the cup holders. And the cup holders, they are pretty good size, and they have these little dimples that are pushed in and out to accommodate for different size cups. Plus it's open there in the center, so you can use the cup holders for other things like a cell phone or something, or anything you want besides just cups. Then it has this little pocket here, and that would be good for standing up a cell phone or maybe a pen or something like that. Now this whole thing moves back like that. So now you've got this huge storage area, and also in addition to a storage area, you'll notice it has a auxiliary input, USB. You also have a 12-volt power supply there. Now you notice it has a little battery there on the battery on the power supply, because that is always on. Even if the vehicle is turned off, there's still power to that. So if you need to charge your cell phone while you're in the store or something, you can plug it in there, and it'll, of course, it's going to use some battery power of your vehicle, but you know, you still have the ability to use that. So you'll notice this one for the passenger side has a key on the outside, and that's showing you that it is it turns on with the ignition of the vehicle. So when the vehicle is running, that will turn on. All right, also you'll notice it has this hole here. I don't know if you can see there, and this hole goes into that little cubby compartment I showed you. So if you have a cell phone down in there, you can run the wires through that hole and plug them in to one of those ports. It's pretty cool. Also, here's your center armrest right here, and this actually lifts up, and you actually have more storage space back here, and it's all connected with that whole big area. So it's a huge storage area, and you can see it has a little light in there, which is pretty convenient. So this armrest also slides forward and back, just in case you need to have, you know, just a little bit more forward, so more comfortable position while you're driving. Okay, so up here is your rear view mirror, and it has a manual adjustment for the night and day mode. On the very top, you can see these little bumps on the top of the rear view mirror. Those are your microphones for your Bluetooth system. So that way, even if you have your windows down, this is a good spot where the wind doesn't blow much, and it'll keep, you know, like wind from interfering. It's interesting because when you call somebody, a lot of people don't even realize you're calling from a car and not just your regular phone. It's really neat. And you can hear them loud and clear. Okay, so you have some lights, quick reading lights up here. And if you wanted to turn on all the lights, you use your dimmer switch over here. You put it all the way up, and it turns on all your interior lights. Have a place to put your shades up here, and it has like a rubberized surface to protect them, get them scratched. It kind of feels like one of those consumer ping pong paddles. All right, so the visor has a mirror here. Also, it has the ability to extend out this way in case you need to use that to get that right position. Same thing on the passenger side there. So let's take a look at the visibility in the back. So we can get you the right angle there. Not too bad. You see pretty good. So what do you think? What do you think of the 2016 Chrysler 200 Limited? It has a lot of standard features. Let's take a look at the window sticker quickly. I'm going to try to have all this information in the description of the video, but just in case, you can hit the pause button and check it out. It's got the 5-star safety rating there. Check out the gas mileage. But lots of standard features like Bluetooth, electric parking brake. The only optional equipment is the customer preferred package 28E, and not sure exactly what all that includes. I'd have to look it up, but anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this vehicle, and if you drive a Chrysler 200 every day, if you have one like say a 15 or a 16, the new model, this particular model, let us know in the comments and leave some information there. Maybe if you're thinking about buying one of these and you're considering other models and you're deciding on this one, let us know some, you know, what you found out. Have some content in the description, I mean in the comment section. It really helps out everybody involved. The whole purpose of this video is to inform other people, help them with their buying decisions, and hopefully everybody will be better off. So thank you for watching, and thank you to Van Underwood Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Whiteville, North Carolina. Whiteville is near, it's a small town, but it's near Wilmington, North Carolina. Maybe you know where that is. Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, all that area. And awesome dealership. Stephen Underwood, I'm going to leave his contact information in the description. If you have any Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram questions, anything at all, he's a really easygoing guy, a nice guy, and he really works hard to earn people's business. So if you want to get some information, possibly get a new vehicle from them, I highly recommend them. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.